39 a lot in contest, a lot in practice, and is really, really familiar with how that feels.
I've been thinking. I thought a lot about it, and you would think that one of the older guys who's been there and done it type thing, but then some of the younger guys have been. I see like Rossi and some of the guys standing there closing their eyes and walking through movements. So those guys are onto some of the more mental part of the game. So I'm thinking one of the older guys. I know we've done some training with the Brits where knowing at this level that there's a high percentage that you're going to be in a lot of runoffs at big events. So I know Will and I know Glenn have done a lot of cold, not really 39s, but because most of the time your runoffs are going to be 38, 39-ish. So I know the Brits have done it. So it'd be interesting to see Jamie, Rossi, from watching them warm up and watching what they do, what I've seen them do in the past. Some of the more mental type stuff in the warm up. So my call is an older guy or a Brit.
What about an older Brit? We've got, between Jody and Glenn, and these guys are really seasoned skiers. They're out early. They're actually the first two on the water, but you know that these guys have had this formal training that you speak of that the British team goes through, as well as how many times have Glenn and Jody run 39s in contest?
I'm not too sure about. You never want to bet against Jody Fisher. The guy's, he's proven that on game day he puts his A game on. So he's a scrapper, he's a fighter, and if it doesn't take a full pass at 39, you can count on him being pretty far down the line. Glenn, I've seen him do some cold warm-ups, so it's not new to him, but I don't think he's done a lot of it lately.
And these boys both very busy otherwise. Glenn, I think, with a little bit of a sore back, so we'll see how these guys hold up early on. But then, you look at, as you mentioned, the Jamies and the Rossis and the Terry and the Marcus. I mean, these guys are in peak fitness as well. So, from my side, what I spoke about as far as the intensity of the speed and the pull, besides the fact that these guys are skiing extremely hard right now with their training, they are the most fit guys here to be able to handle this, kind of this extreme amount of force immediately off the dock.
But you can also look at the other angle too, where I'm sure Jamie's back's not feeling real good this morning. Those guys were doing a bunch of skiing yesterday. So is the fatigue going to come in? So it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's never been done before. I think it's really cool. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I'm still going to go with one of the old boys.
Okay, on your call, how many people will run 39?
We've got a little tailwind picking up, and it's picked up over the last 10 minutes. If it keeps picking up like this, I'm going to call. How many lefties do we have in here?
Oh, that's a good call. Let's have a look.
The lefties are going to have an advantage, especially with this tailwind. So at the beginning when it was calm, I was calling 2. To win it, you got to get a piece of 2 ball out 41. So here we got Glenn Campbell on the water.
Oh, wow, we're into it. All right, Glenn Campbell, 39.5 off. Stuck right in, slack at 1. And our first score, 1 buoy. So there you go, Mike. I mean, we talked about Glenn having experience. I wonder if, does that mean Jody's skipping this morning? Or?
No, how many lefties do we have? So there was an issue. I mean, if you want to get it, we got 6, so we got 50% left. So, like that ball 1, if you get a good 1 ball, you're going to get pretty far down. I mean, Glenn's, first turn is his offside. So, a little tailwind. Now, the wind's down now. So, what are you seeing?
Oh, I think these guys are just going to have, I think that's very typical of what we're going to see. I'm imagining that we're going to see some people get further down the course, but at the same time, you look at Glenn. You tell me what you see as the coach here. What happens there with Glenn as he pulls out? I mean, his pull out is going to be consistent, but then as he gets to 1, he's totally losing the line. Some of that's the tailwind, but physically or technically, what's causing that?
I think two things are going on. One thing is he hasn't seen anybody ski yet, and it's a big advantage to the other guys because once somebody gets down the line, all of a sudden it clicks in your head, hey, this thing's makeable. So now the opposite's going on because Glenn goes out there, and gets one. Now the guys are going, hey, is this thing, can this thing happen? I watched Glenn's gate. I mean, everything looked pretty good. He just looked like he came inside on it. So the angle that we have here is a little tricky, but he just didn't maintain. So maybe he went too easy, which normally happens when you're not used to starting real short. Who's next gear?
All right, Ian Trapp's up next. Louisiana boy, Ian Trapp. Well, actually, he's a West Coast boy. He grew up. You must be a little bit familiar with that Canyon Lake area in Southern California.
Yeah, I mean that's the old Ronnie Barton stomping grounds and the legend Mike Murphy stomping grounds. Tony Clarich. There was a couple of the old boys that are out there still slamming. But it became a big wakeboard area. So.
Well, that's Ian's roots, but he's now, I'm sure, calling Zachary, Louisiana at Jay Bennett's place home. This is his second cut. It's 2 weekends in a row he's made the cut. I think he had a really strong winter mentally and on the water time, just building his skill. And he's skiing with a lot of confidence, and he's earning respect to the other pros, which is obviously important when you have to travel with these people that, they respect how you're going about it. So I know Ian's just really excited to even be skiing in the Spin It to Win It yesterday in this cold 39. He was certainly in good spirits last night when I saw him late, so we'll see how he feels this morning.
It's just looking at the running order and seeing that Terry and you got Terry, Marcus, Jamie down at the end. Once again, it's going to come down to that the seating is that big advantage, especially in something like this. And with those guys, with Jamie being a lefty and top seed, it's pretty hard to bet against him, especially how he skied yesterday.
All right, so another righty, Ian Trapp. We'll see how he goes with that with the toe side one ball. He gets out of it though. We have a new leader. Hangs on to a full two, so maybe we'll inch up. We have enough people. If everybody runs one more buoy, we might get through one of these.
Make an announcement for Drew Ross at the starting dock.
Drew Ross, are you around? Drew Ross, you're next. All right, so Ian Trapp skis himself into the lead, bumping Glenn Campbell.
It didn't look too bad, out of one ball, but I think that early morning wake up caught him off guard. I fooled around, so speaking from experience, and it's interesting how you talked about the stretch in the line. That's what I noticed the most when I would try to start out of some of the shorter rope lengths. You just felt like you were skiing on a cable. Everything was real. Plus the acceleration. It was like instant. It was right on the money. The acceleration was on. You always felt like you were coming inside the line. You couldn't maintain your width, and that's what happened to Glenn, and that's also what happened to Ian.
That's just an interesting point. We had some emails yesterday and people talking about when to release their pull and some things. Technically, as we started to talk about slalom skiing, I think the best way that I can describe, shorter rope slalom to somebody is really physically and technically. Things don't change, but you just have to do things quicker as the line gets shorter because you do lose that little bit of stretch in the rope, and the rope is going to go tighter sooner in your pull. So you need to be going that fast to allow your ski to turn. If you get moving too slow, then the boat is going to pull the handle away from you because you have less rope.
Yeah, and the last two skiers, yesterday proved that it's more efficient to stand on your ski, West Coast or open, whatever you want to call it. I mean, and today, especially when we talk about those looser lines, tighter lines, those guys are running less load in their line. They're running a faster line, and I think not being warmed up, being cold, and at such a short rope length, I think you're going to see once again that those guys, the Rossies and the Jamies and the Terrys and the Marcuses, because they run that line and they don't feel like they're on a cable as much as the old school style, is going to be an advantage.
All right, Mike, we've got Glenn Jubeck with us right now. Glenn's been with us for a couple days. He flew in from Georgia. I think your kids are watching right now, right?
Yep, I'd like to say hi to Allison, Sophie, Veronica, and Charlotte. Hi, girls. I miss you.
All right, we're going to be seeing Glenn a little bit later in our pro-am. Glenn's picking up his skill. Oh, Trent gets outside too. Oh, he's going to tie up with Ian. It's fun. The fantasy camp's been really fun, hasn't it, Mike, to have these guys come in and see their excitement about water skiing and know that these are true fans that follow the magazine every issue, and if they weren't here, they'd be tuned into the webcast right now from start to stop.
I was aware of fantasy camps from other sports, from baseball and hockey and stuff like that, and I've run into a few people that have attended fantasy camps, where they would be in major league locker rooms for baseball and trainers and all that sort of stuff. So coming here, I was really excited to see what was how it was going to work in the water ski world, and it's pretty awesome to see. I mean, just to stand on the shoreline and look in the boat and see all the big name guys there, and coaching these avid fans, it's cool. It's awesome.
What is it like going from boat to boat for these guys? Like, Glenn made a comment on skiing on team.
Yeah. Sully, so we're running a correct craft today, and it was a draw of the straw. Who got to pull what today. But a lot of these guys are team skiers that skied yesterday behind a totally different boat. So you're thrown in the early morning, the 39, and a different feel.
Oh, the boats all of obviously very high quality. These three brands are the best ski boats in the world, as we all know. But they do all have very different feelings. And for even these guys that aren't team skiers, this particular boat in this event, that might be your boat of choice or your sponsor's boat. But when you ski behind another brand, the wakes feel different, the pull is different. So coming out first thing in the morning and switching that boat and getting behind something new, when you go through the wakes the first time, which unfortunately this morning is your gate shot at 39.5 off, it does have a different feeling. From the way the boat tracks to the way your ski cuts through the wakes, they're all very different based on hull shape. So that certainly could play effect after a lot of these guys skiing in the spin it to win. If they went up and back and up and back and up and back at 38 off, and now they're at 39.5, and the first cut through the wakes is definitely going to feel different.
So we have you pop in just after the skier goes off. All right, Trent?
All right, Seth Stisher on the water. Seth, Trophy Lakes, Charleston, South Carolina. Seth being all of our skiers doing the one-handed gate. Seth's going to get one as well, and he throws the fist. He's pleased with that. All right, we've got Trent with us this morning. Hey, Trent. Early morning. I know you normally get up and run early. You're kind of an early morning guy, but coming out at 39.5, first thing, what gives, man?
Oh man, it was tough. I knew I was probably gonna overski it, and I had a decent gate, okay one, and sure enough, I went way too damn hard to two, man. I don't know. It was fun though. It's cool. I think there'll probably be 3 people run it though. We made it look pretty hard out there, but there'll be 3 people who run it.
So you think the further we get down the list, there's definitely some chances that we're going to get one of these guys all the way through?
Yeah, it seems like those guys, you get down, Jamie and Marcus, they not only like to win, they like to make us look really bad sometimes too. But I think we should have made a tournament organizer and the brainchild behind this thing, Todd Risticelli.
Nice.
He should have been the forerunner for this whole deal, I reckon.
There you go. What would you have done different? Now that you did it, I mean, obviously all morning you've been thinking about this. How can I prepare myself? What would you have done different to get ready for this?
I felt like I could have been a little warmer. I got here a little late. Didn't really warm up the way I would have liked to. I think my game plan was right. Like watching everyone. I think people they're going a little bit too hard. You get in a little bit deep, you get a little jacked up because it's 39, and I think if I would have warmed up a little better, it might have helped. But shit, it's 8 o'clock and it's 39, so I don't know if anything would have helped.
It is what it is, right? Well, hey, thanks, Trent. Great skiing. Awesome. You're making it through these rounds. It's
hopefully it starts to feel really comfortable making cuts, huh?
Yeah, man, it feels good when someone gives you a check at the end of the tournament instead of just counting your losses. So, yeah, loving it for sure.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
When he said, I need to warm up a little more, he's from Saskatchewan. He's frozen up there. He should be sweating down here. It's 80 degrees.
I think that's why we see him down here a lot. Trent's he's finished with school, and he went through school in Louisiana at the University of Louisiana Lafayette, and he now hangs out with Sonny Berry. I don't know if Sonny's on this morning, Mike, an old friend of yours, Sonny Berry, but Trent lives and trains Sonny's boys in Texas there in San Marcos, and Sonny has a beautiful facility there that Trent runs for him. And so he's definitely moving south and staying south, and Trent's living in my home state of Texas.
Sonny Berry, don't get me started. Sonny, I think I worked for Sonny Berry back in Gonzales, Texas, way back in the day. That's where Wade Cox got his start, at Sonny Berry's.
With Wade,
Yeah.
wasn't it? All right, we're moving down this list fast. We're already into the guys that ran 39.5 off yesterday. T-Gas, Thomas DeGaspery. Now, this guy has run 41 off. Run 41 off in a runoff. After skiing before, but, 2 buoys. Tying up with Ian Trapp for the lead.
That's the best start so far.
Definitely. Thomas looked like he was comfortable with speed, but still got taken by pull.
It was interesting to see how he dealt with the load. Like he cranked it, wasn't ready for it, but he was able to absorb it and still keep the ski on edge to get going. So Thomas was putting some thought into it out there.
All right, this event's just flying by. Thomas with a full 2, tying up with Ian Trapp for the lead. Chris Rossi, Terry Winter, Marcus Brown, and Jamie Beauchesne remain. We're hoping to get 2 of these skiers through 39.5, but we're just going to have to wait and see if we can get halfway down the course at this point.
On falls and misses, we're going to do interviews. Hey, what we need one of those guys. Okay, Sully. We're moving right along there. Who's our next skier?
Chris Rossi, Roscoe.
Ooh.
Vermont boy. We saw him a lot yesterday. He ran a lot of 38s. He got through 39 in the first round. Rossi just being one of those established skiers now. These guys are beyond the point where they have something to prove. They're established, and they're becoming that guard. And I spoke with Matt Reaney a little bit about it this morning, and he just said, "Wow, this is obviously these guys are establishing dominance and proving that that they're gonna be around for a long time and on the podium a lot." I mean, you see, look at these 4 guys that just changed it up yesterday, but all 4 of them finished top 4 both events, and judging by what's going on right now, I'm going to have to say that I put money on these 4 guys again to finish at the lead.
I think there was a statement made yesterday, and I'll bet you a bunch of the boys come Saturday morning are going to be out there taking one hand off on their turn-in on their gate and trying to figure out how they can stand more like these guys, because they put on a bit of a show yesterday. I got some sort of a feeling here that Rossi is going to put something good out there.
Yeah, I'm going to give him more than 2 for sure, and I imagine Rossi can get down the course a little bit further than that.
Rossi was running behind, so I don't think he got the warm-up he wanted to. I know we got a call earlier that they were going to be a little bit late for the start, so I'm not sure how prepared he is right now.
Well, I saw him taking a jog earlier, but he certainly likes to get to the site early, and he did call and say, hey, if you can delay start time, me and Jamie are running a little bit late, because Rossi lives, that's a start. Rossi knows how to get down the course. He's run a lot of 39s, and he runs 3. That is, like I said, going to put him in the top 4 for sure. Full 3 buoys knocks Thomas and Ian down. But, Rossi lives on the other side of town. It's a solid. Orlando's a big place, and we're off an Orlando map on one side, and he lives off the Orlando map on the other. So getting on toll roads and turnpikes takes quite a while to get across town. And he called and said, hey, what time's start time again? Jamie and I I can tell you what time we're going to be there. I hope it's in time. So, he had a quick run, but enough to run 3 and bump down Ian and T-Gas for sure.
We have Terry Winter up next, and Terry put on a little show yesterday for a small man against the big boys. But that just goes to show all the stuff we talked about as far as that cable feel in the line compared to that spongy feel. Rossi's having a little fun out there.
Now that's free skiing at its best. If you've ever seen anybody cut it out, that's somebody that can ride. And he throws the iron fist. Really pleased with that.
But when you think of it, like Terry's a little guy. He's not a big man. But how is that going to affect him out here today? Is it going to be an advantage because he's running such a fast line, and he's running with so much the least amount of load than the other guys are running, and that seems to be the issue with all these guys getting pulled in.
Well, I tell you, it's just a matter of efficiency for Terry. We talked about it a bunch yesterday, that he does run a fast line. He does hold a higher rate of speed all the way through the course, and all Terry has to do is stick with his game plan the way he does when he gets to start at 32 often. He has as legitimate shot of getting down this as anybody, and you really actually almost have to put money on him.
Lefty, one-handed gait, runs fast lines. You would figure he's going to get past 3-ball.
Come on, Mike. Terry's not a lefty.
That's right. I'm on it. I'm too busy staring at the wind.
We've
wind's been gusting up and down.
We have one lefty represented, and it's our very selfish Jamie Beauchesne yesterday, taking out both titles, not sharing with anybody. Well, I'll tell you what, Terry wins the best shorts contest of the day today, for sure. That's a start.
There's your 3 for a righty.
All
See,
right,
if he was a lefty, he would have been in a
Well, exactly, and that's why, we have Marcus next, another righty who runs a phenomenally fast line, especially turning in for the gates. But then we've got Jamie. So Jamie's going to turn 1. If he can get out of 2, you have to be pretty sure that he's going to get to 4 with a 3-ball onside turn, rather than these guys are just trying to get their ski outside for a toe side turn at 3-ball.
I think the strategy, he's on a roll right now, depending on how his back's feeling after all those spins. It's just, turn 1, just have enough room at 2 to get around it, and pull over to 3, and you're going to get a turn at 3-ball.
Thanks to Ski Nautique for pulling this event this morning. They were drawn out of the hat for the 3 independent events that our major sponsors get to pull. Correct Crafts being the title sponsor, and a great Toba for the 39 cold 39 contest.
So, Sully, what do you think's going on in the minds of the fantasy campers?
Oh, I think there's a lot of nerves going on down there at the dock. Can you imagine? These guys their water skiing is their hobby. They love to do it, as we all do. But now they're thrown into the middle of. There's so many things that are on their mind right now. They're hanging out with their favorite pros. These guys that they see in the magazine week in and week, or month in and month out. Now these guys are down on the dock, and their ski bag is maybe sitting next to Chris Parrish's ski bag. And they're opening up and they're watching what these guys are doing. They're more concerned with what Chris Parrish next to them is doing than their own stretching and warming up routine. They probably don't even have a stretching and warming up routine. A lot of these guys have never even been in a tournament. Now they're going to be in a tournament with the pros on webcast. All their family and friends are watching. That's a lot of pressure.
Think about the first time you skied in a tournament. The feeling that in your inside, the feeling in your stomach. Now multiply that by 10, and that's what's going on.
I can't imagine. I remember the feeling. Rossi can help us with this. What about the first time you skied in a tournament compared to the first time you skied in a pro event, compared to your first finals, compared to going off the dock at 39.5 off?
Oh man, the heart rate goes up for each level. It's like stepping it up a little bit. It's that's a new experience right there. I don't think anybody here has tried it. If they did, I don't know about it. And I think if you gave us a couple more days at it, I think we could see some more people running it. Here comes one right now.
All right, Marcus Brown the righty, runs a fast line through his gate turn, not scared to power through. But as we talked about the righties, that's a really great start. And he gets out of 2. He's going to turn 3.
Marcus.
MB.
Marcus.
Wow. There we go. The competition is on. Right on for MB. Through a 39. I tell you what, hey, Rossi, you've been traveling and skiing with Marcus. He's on fire right now, huh? He's dealt with injuries the last couple of years. He seems really strong right now, and he's riding his ski well, isn't he?
Hey, man, when Marcus is healthy, he's a man to be reckoned with. You know, he's such a technician out there. He knows what he's doing. He's calculated. You know, he's got that engineer mindset. You know, it's just a great athlete to train with, to ski against, to watch. You know, I mean, it's just amazing.
So what about you? How was your winter into spring and the start of this pro season?
Well, you know, we spent all winter out up in the mountains just getting away from all this this jazz, and then I think that strength just builds right into water skiing and come back, you know, by the first, 3 sets, we're running 39 again, you know, getting down the rope. So it's just a conditioning deal. Here comes Marcus, man, 41.
So can you really get back into your skiing that fast? Do you attribute that to the snow skiing? That, I mean, geez, people spend months trying to get back to where they ended the season last year, and so what you're saying is within a few sets you can be right back on top of your game running 39?
Snow skiing is so fast, and we're going so hard that coming back to this, it almost feels slow. So I mean, I can't go out and ski 3 sets a day when I come back, but I can come out and go down the rope, and it doesn't feel fast, doesn't feel that hard. I actually feel like I'm freer with my movements and more calculated with them. So I think that's a good way to go.
But you also have a really good habit. You like to end the season with the ski that you want to ski on next year, right? So when you come back, you know your equipment is dialed and what you're starting on. You can eliminate that variable, and you don't question your equipment as you're trying to get your feet back under you.
Yeah. Most definitely. Here comes Marcus, 41.
All right, MB. Through 39, somebody breaks through. Marcus again with that really taking speed.
A little narrow there at 1.
I'm sure it felt like he got wrong-sided, but I'm sure our main man Tommy was right down the middle. Let's finish up with that really quick before Marcus gets in. So you're sure your equipment's dialed as you end the season?
You know, I've experimented with this stuff going down the deal, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I've done it all different ways. I got to tell you that if you're going to get a new ski, I think fall is a great time to do it. Get it dialed in, get yourself set so that when you come back in the spring, everything feels weird. You're not coordinated the way you want, you're not as fast as you want, but you got to know that your ski is set up and it can do it. That way, that's one more factor out of the equation. You're not guessing your ski. You know, hey, I got to get me back up to speed, and the more variables you can get rid of, the better you can be.
So speaking of skiing in the spring or the fall, people can get in touch with you. You're running your ski school on the east side of town. How do they reach you?
You know, we're running Ski Tech out in Bithlo, Florida. You can get us at www.skitech.net, SKITEK.net. Come visit us.
Right on. Hey, thanks, Rossi.
Hey,
Phenomenal skiing, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you, boys, very much. You guys are doing a killer job. Thanks, Water Ski Magazine, all the boat companies. Thanks, guys. I mean, we love doing this stuff, so thanks a lot.
All right. Chris Rossi,
Huge going home, dude.
holding it down. But the man of the moment, Marcus Brown, just blowing this thing out with 0 at 41.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was crazy. It was wet.
So that's going to leave JB. He's got to get outside 1 at 41, at least a quarter, at least a half, a full buoy. You know, Marcus he entered the course with more speed, and it was evident to me, Mike, sitting here that these guys are all running very fast lines to the gates, but it seemed like Marcus's start there was more on time than these other guys. Maybe they're just starting that little bit too slow for maybe it's that 39 first thing in the morning, that they're not getting that start that they normally would after a couple of warm-up passes.
You know, what I talked about yesterday is, when you're shooting when you're hot and you're shooting those 3-pointers and the basket just looks so big, I think Marcus is in that zone. He's unconscious right now.
Well, I think JB lives in that zone, so I'll be perpetually with a big basket and the small ball, but
he's got his work cut out.
He's not going to make it.
The righty.
Right on.
The righty wins the
Brilliant
event.
TikTok. Congratulations, MB, the only man through.
Like you're saying there, as far as, I think he's in that unconscious stage when you're hot. And when you're hot, the goalies say the puck looks gigantic. It looks like a beach ball. And they're just in an unconscious state. I think he's there right now. He's in the zone. And watching that video of him the other day, I mean, he's the most efficient I've ever seen him. I mean, we were watching this thing in super slow-mo and like frame by framing it, and the guy's on. I talked to him yesterday after he skied, and I said, where were you at, what you saw, and what you were you working on. He goes, after we watched the video, he said, I put it in the back of my mind. He said, so it was there. He said, but I didn't go out there to work on it because what I wanted to do was just put it in the back of my mind and let everything flow the way it's been flowing. So that's just when you're in the zone.
All right, Mike. Marcus Brown, our winner. Full pass. At 39.5 off, 0 at 41, but MB, congratulations. A tie for second. Rossi and Terry both running 3. Then we have a 3-way tie for third at 2 with Ian Trapp, Thomas DeGasperi, and JB getting 2 there on. I mean, JB's got to be exhausted after yesterday. Even when you're in the zone, I mean, physically as great a shape as he is in, the best ski shape he's ever been in. I mean, the guy had to ski really hard to win the first round yesterday, and then he ran 6:38s last night. As much as he wanted to get through that, he's got to be taxed this morning.
And I'm sure his back's not, used to doing that. And he's running late, and he was just sitting in a car for an hour. So it all adds up to not a stellar performance. But he showed the boys yesterday.
Well, I'm just pleased he decided to spread the wealth a little bit. If he'd been selfish and won all 3, I don't know if he'd have a ride back to the other side of town from Rossi. So,
well, now he's got to give one to Roscoe. Gave one to Marcus, one to him.
So there we go. Marcus Brown takes the big check for that event, and then we have a lot of division to do after some ties up. Rossi and Terry in second, Ian DeGasperi and Jamie in third with 2 buoys. All right, our next event. We'll take a. I don't think I have any emails yet.